Hey everybody, it's Angela, and today I wanted to share an altered Matchbox that I did. It's kind of like I wanted to do a configurations box, but I didn't have one, and I wasn't at my normal craft room. My husband and I work at a satellite office 1 week a month, and I have a little craft area set up there, but not as many supplies. So I didn't really have anything to alter, and so I looked around and I found this box of matches. So I dumped out the matches and decided I would go ahead and alter this, and I used my 2-inch McGill hole punch, and I kind of inserted the punch in here and just put a lot of pressure on it. I almost had to sit on it to get it to crunch through this. And I couldn't center it exactly because that punch is so fat in order to fit it in here, but I kind of liked that it came all the way down to the bottom so that you can kind of see what's sitting on this little ledge. And so that worked out really well. And the first thing I did was I covered all the edges and the corners with tape, and I had recently gotten the Target box of like a bunch of different colored tapes, and so I wanted to use those, so I used the light blue one. I wasn't too happy with the way it adhered. It's just not that strong of an adhesive. It worked okay, but I'm not sure I'd use it for this project again. I'd probably ink the edges or paint it with acrylic paint. But anyhow, so I went over with blue tape around all the edges, and then I covered them with pattern paper, and all the paper is from this paper pad. It's a 6x6 Vanity Fair, my mind's eye, that I got from Vanessa at 77 Butterfly Love. Hi Vanessa. I'll put a link to her YouTube channel below because she sells a lot of items. I've ordered from her several times and always got great service. So I'll go ahead and put a link to her below. So I used pretty much papers from this collection, and I've still got a lot of paper left. And after I cut the pieces, I did do a little inking with brown ink around the edges. I also did some stamping. I stamped this little bird, this little stopwatch. There's a little stamp here, and then there's another of the birds, and if found, please return to, and I'm going to put my information on the back. And then on the sides, I used the Tim Holtz hitch fasteners to make little pulls. And then on the inside, I put a picture of me and my husband, and there's just a bunch of flowers in there, and then there's a little tiny locket that was too small to actually put pictures in, so I just used a regular hole punch, you know, like from a 3-hole punch, put some pieces of paper, the little punches from that in there, and I put 12/9 in there, and that's the date we got married, which was December 9th. And so that's our anniversary date, and I just used some embroidery thread and some little flowers that I cut using a Marvy, a McGill, and a Martha Stewart flower punches, and just layered them, and I put a little bit of Recollections bling on there. And as you can see, on the other side, I've made a little partition, so this just slips all the way out. And I lined the whole inside of the box and put this partition in here. And then this is just a little mini album using the same papers. And this little plastic cameo and this little locket piece here were both out of this Artsy pack, and I got several of these in clearance from Michael's like about a year ago, and I hadn't used them, and I had taken them to my my satellite scrap area, and so finally I just kind of said, oh, I'm going to use it, and so I broke it open, and that's where this little cameo came from, and I just used a little bit of hook and loop tape to fasten it down, put a few more flowers. I did a little bit more stamping on the back and front. I inked all the edges. And then I did this kind of like an Amy Tan book. I did, it's a little bit of punching throughout. I kind of made different sized pages, and I did more stamping. Here's another little page, and I just stapled it in the center instead of sewing it. I thought this would just be easier, and it was still small enough it fit in my stapler. Got a little clock. I think this little clock also came in the Artsy pack. And then these are just the other sides of the front pages. I used some of these little tiny clips that I got in a Cocoa Daisy kit once. Some more stamps, and I don't know who the stamp sets were from because they were out of the packaging. Just random images that were small enough to fit on there. And in here I'm going to put wedding pictures. We didn't have like a wedding. We just had we just went to the courthouse with our families and got married, so I don't have like, a traditional wedding with a gown and cake and all that. So, but I do have some pictures. Now, I didn't actually have very many pictures either, but I have a few. And so I'm going to put those in here. And it's actually, I've still got a lot of space, a lot of depth left in here. And I think I might make another one that will just sit in here as well, that I'll put pictures from each of our anniversaries, because we go out each anniversary and we take our pictures. So I'll probably make another little book to go in there. But so this was my altered Matchbox project, and it'll just sit, up on a shelf like this. And the matches, since I kind of stole their home, I found a jar in the kitchen. It was an old salsa jar. Actually, it was a Mrs. Renfro's salsa jar, so I put all the matches in there, and then I painted with some spray paint. I sprayed the lid teal because it had all the advertising from the salsa on there, and I sprayed it teal, and then I used my 2-inch punch and punched out a piece of sandpaper to strike the matches against. So, they haven't been forgotten. Even though I stole their home, they've still got a nice way to be used and to stay dry, and so I recycled another jar in the process. So anyhow, just wanted to share that with you. I really had fun making this, and if you have any questions or any comments, just leave them below. Thanks a lot. Bye.